Hello everybody, this is Petey from BurgZerg Arcade at BurgZergArcade.net, and here we are back again with another episode on a little code along for the item system. Now, I know a lot of people have been itching to get this actually out and working in their projects itself, and I had a few more things before I actually wanted to come back and refactor out basically the editor stuff from the build stuff that you would use in an actual run project. But people really want to see it running, so we're just going to go ahead and use some preprocessor directives, a little bit of Unity magic here, and get it actually up and running to where you can actually use this in your projects as far as the actual executable goes. Now, be warned, I wasn't really planning on having any of this to be usable. Well, it could be usable, but I didn't want to start using it in my projects till we get to about version 2. Version 1 is just basically learning how to do things. Then we're going to go ahead and take that and incorporate it into a version 2 later on. Well, let's actually just go ahead and get this working so that it actually builds out for people. So let's go ahead and we'll come up to the build menu. And I'll come down to build settings. I'm going to go with the PC Mac Linux standalone. And I'm just going to go ahead and hit build. I'm going to just build it up to my desktop, save it as demo. And here we go. We got some errors. I'm actually just going to move this off to the side because I'm probably going to be hitting that a lot. So here we go. The first one is the namespace UnityEditor. Now, you cannot include this in any of your final builds as it does not exist. So let's go ahead, we'll open this up in MonoDevelop and let's take a look at it. And here we go, right at the top, UnityEditor. Now, of course, most people's first instinct is just to go ahead and comment it out. But look at all the stuff that we do that requires it. All these little pink errors popping up. So that's not what we want to do. Now, to be honest, a lot of this functionality, since the scriptable object that we create is immutable, we can't change anything in it. A lot of these functions we don't actually need in the runtime version of the script. And that's where I wanted to go ahead and make an editor version and then also have a runtime version as well. But that will take longer, so we're going to use a preprocessor directive. And we're going to start here. Now, by default, I like my preprocessor directives right up against the left border. And it starts off with the pound sign, if, and then we're going to say UnityEditor right down here at the bottom. And what that basically says is if we're in the UnityEditor, run this code. If we're not in the UnityEditor, this code will not be included. And there's a lot of things. Like there's no point in having add, insert, remove. Either of the removes. The count, I guess we can use. But we definitely want to get rid of these simply because we have the set dirty. Now, in some of my other editor scripts, I usually have this set dirty line. If we go ahead and take a look, well, we don't have to take a look at it. I usually have it as the next line after the function call to, let's say, remove. But I don't like doing that because sometimes I just forget to actually put the set dirty line in. And I know that every time I go ahead and do a remove, I need to call this anyway. So I like the idea of keeping it in my database script, but we don't need it in the build version. So we'll come down here and we'll just use an end if. So anything in between here will not be included in the build, but will still be available in the editor. So I'm going to come down and take a look. I'm not sure if we'll need count. Either way, it can be included because it doesn't generate an error as we're not using any of the UnityEditor stuff. And that's actually another thing we have to do up here. And there actually are a few UnityEditor versions. Looks like to me I have the UnityEditor, Editor 64, and Editor OS X. I'm just going to go ahead and use the editor, just the default. And we'll throw in the end if. There we go. Now, this really isn't the best way to do it, but it does work. And it'll get everything done. So we are going to need get. That's the main, that's really these are probably the only two functions that we ever really need in the build version. Replace we're not going to use. And get database, we don't need to use either. Because this actually gets it, creates it if it doesn't exist. Yeah, so we don't actually need any of these. So let me see, I can actually just move these to the bottom, but for the way the script is laid out, I don't want to. So I'm just going to go ahead and use another if here. So if we're in the editor, don't include any of this. And make sure you get it right here. There we go. I think I put it in the wrong spot. Nope. That's for the namespace and the class. Okay. And that should be it for that script. Let's go ahead. We'll jump back in. I'm going to go ahead and clear it. Hit build again. Yeah, we'll just hit build again. Before we do, I want to make sure there's an actual scene added. So I'm actually going to come to my, and also let's check the databases too. Let's make sure there's at least something in the database. There's nothing in my quality database, so that's going to cause errors if I try to run it. Again, something that we probably should put some code in to check. We'll do the third one. And let's make sure we have stuff in our weapon database. I'm going to go ahead and make 2. I'm just going to make this one a long sword. I'd just like to have at least 2. I'm just going to go ahead and save my scene as well, even though that doesn't update the database. They update automatically for us. What do I want? I wanted scenes. And I'm actually going to go ahead and add that one. I'm also going to load it as well. And it's been a while since I've actually loaded this. So I'm actually going to go ahead and hit play, see what it does. It generates an error. Reference. Okay, we're missing a reference here. We don't have a database loaded, so let's go ahead. We'll go to the database. It's a weapon database, yes. Clear that off. We'll go ahead, hit play again. All right, there we go. So this just shows the 2 weapons, and we can keep generating them. And as you can see, it shows up over here as we do. Great. So we got the demo working in the editor. That's kind of important to make sure you have that working. And I'm just going to quickly move this over. Let's make sure the editor is still working too. We'll get an argument out of range. Let's go ahead. We'll check that out. So I'm just going to go ahead and close the build settings. I just want to quickly check. I did. Why is that 0 again? 3. So I'm just going to say common, uncommon. Oh, come down here, say rare. There we go. That fixes it. Is that going to 0 out every time? What's going on? Not sure why it 0'd out last time. Well, it's working right now. I'll have to go ahead and check that out because it's always scary and stuff like that happens. Keep backups, my friends. Keep backups. All right, so we got the editor working. Maybe. There we go. Not sure why it was beeping at me. Okay. So back to the build settings. Let's go ahead. We'll open that back up. Fun times. And let's move on to the next one. Should be a few more that we're going to have to add. Probably quite a few more. All right. There's more to start off with. So we got UnityEditor. I'm just looking at the scripts here. The IS object, the weapon object, IS quality database, IS weapon. Okay. So well, start at the top. You know what we're doing, right? Probably a good idea just to copy paste that one line. So down here, I can just say end if. I'm going to save that off. And there's going to be a few other things. Actually, all this code that we're going to add to the editor version, we're going to have to do it down here as well. And again, by default, this is usually how it indents it in for you. I just like it out by the side. So I should be able to come down here. This is in a namespace, so we make sure that we have at least 2 braces underneath. You want to make sure it's underneath these glasses. And let's come back in. So we got, did we just do object? Yeah, we just did object, right? Yeah. So let's go ahead. We'll do weapon next. Same deal. And we had the same thing here, right? Where we had to come down and anything under this. Yep, right here. I want it underneath the comment. You could actually put it above the comment as well. I want to keep the comment there. And if. And again, this isn't the best way to do it. It's a little messy. The best way, why'd I do that? The best way actually is to separate them. But let's just get this running for it once. So what's the last one here? Type namespace UnityEditor cannot be found in the IS quality database. And I'm looking at this one, and I'm not sure why it's even in this one. I think we can just comment this one out, right? Try that out. And we get another beep. So IS object does not construct that takes 0. So it's during the weapon, it calls the default of object. It does not have one. C# required because we have a constructor here, because we have our defined one. We have to have a regular one as well. Doesn't need to have anything in it, just needs to be defined. We'll save that off. We got a new one popped up. It's already defined, so we do have one. It's way down here. Okay. That's because we have it in the editor now. So let's go ahead and take a look, see what this does. So we're going ahead, defining a string for the name of the database. We're going ahead, defining the folder it's in. We're going to go ahead and take this variable. Is that up here too? Yeah, so that's an IS quality database. We're going to take this variable. We're going to go ahead, load it up, save it in there according to the path. Okay, yeah. We have this options array. Is that up here? Yep. What else is up here? Index. Okay, so we have this options array. We're going to go through, grab all the qualities, throw the name into the options array. Now, why do I have this in the constructor? Well, where do I use it? Can we find references? So this first one is at line 85. That's just where I'm defining it. Then at 119, 121, that's where I'm populating it. And then at 135, which is down here, I'm going ahead. The editor GUI. So I'm just using a pop-up. That's all I'm doing for it. Okay. Well, hey, those late nights, right? Sometimes I do these a little late at night, and I am just doing them off the top of my head. So this really shouldn't be in the constructor. This should really be in a load quality database method. That's good. We can fix it. Right here, I'm just going to go ahead and put a check in to. Basically, we're going to create a flag that says, hey, if we haven't loaded the quality database yet, go ahead and do that now. So I'm going to start at the top here. We'll create a new Boolean value. It's private. And I'm going to say quality database loaded. And by default, I want it to be false. We're going to come down here, and instead of being in the constructor, I'm going to call it load quality database. And we will need a return type, which is going to be void. And we're going to go through after we load everything, and we're going to go ahead and set that quality, maybe, database loaded. It's going to be equal to true. And we'll leave space down here. And the very first thing I want to do when we get to here is just check that flag. So if not, quality database loaded. What do we want to do? Well, we're going to load quality database. And using editors, since this is called through the OnGUI, sometimes I find that even though I call this, it's going to go up here, load it up, and then return back down here and continue. Sometimes I get an error if it's doesn't load fast enough. So what I'm going to do is stick a return in here. And that just means this frame, don't do any more of the stuff in here. So basically it sets it back by one frame, but it's not going to matter. It's just sometimes I get an error if it doesn't load fast enough, sometimes, depending on the size of your database. And sometimes it doesn't, but just throwing a return in there, since we're just in the editor, I'm not that worried about it. So now we still have our constructor with 0 parameters, so we can save that off. I'm going to go ahead and just clear this out. Let's try it again. I'm going to call it demo. Was that it? I thought it was going to be a lot longer than that. It did work. I just got to find it on my desktop. I'm actually going to go ahead. Let's just shrink this down for now. Here's my demo. We'll go ahead. We'll load this bad boy back up. Make sure it's windowed. Sure, we'll put it in Fantastic. And I'm using Unity Pro. Why am I getting the splash screen? There's probably an option to turn that off. I'll take a look at that in a minute. And sure enough, of course, I probably should have had it be a little more random. But it works. It builds. And it's actually, if you keep clicking it, you can just see a little bit. It gets thicker, it looks like. Which I'm not sure why, because it's supposed to be put in the exact same spot. But anyway, it's running. That's it. It works. Everything's running great. I'm going to go take a look if you want to keep watching here a bit on why I'm getting a splash screen. Player settings. Icon. You know what? Let's go ahead and put an icon on here. And I'm going to do it the worst way possible. I'm just going to go ahead and drag it in and throw it into my assets folder. There's better ways to do it, but I'm just testing. Okay, this is what, 1024 by 1024. It's the largest. Whoops. Yay, so now my builds will have an icon. Splash image. Let's do the same thing. Oh, here we go. Show Unity splash screen. We'll turn this off. Now, if you're not using Unity Pro, you probably don't have the option to turn that off. During the splash screen, I think it just takes that time and actually loads assets up anyway. But let's go ahead and we'll see. I don't have to play around with any other settings. Resolution, I'm not going to be... We're making cubes. It doesn't really matter. Let's not do build and run, actually. Let's do build. Go ahead, we'll replace it. We'll go ahead and compile all the scripts up. Build was successful. Let's go ahead. I guess we'll just move this to the side. Oh my, where'd it go? Right here. I'm going to go ahead and move that to trash. I'm not sure why I have that icon. I've got way too many icons on my desktop. I'm working on a lot of projects lately. And when I transferred stuff over, I just dumped it all into my desktop. So we'll just go ahead, do a build again. Alrighty. It's built. Where is it? There we go. We'll start it up. It's a little bit different. I thought I gave it an icon. We'll have to go ahead and take a look at that. But I don't get that splash screen anymore. Of course, I can go ahead and put my own splash screen in there. But anyway, splash screen removed. Anyway, thanks for watching, everyone. And as always, make sure to give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it or you found it helpful. Let me know if you're actually using this stuff in your projects down below. If your project's maybe in a playable alpha, go ahead and let me know down below as well. I'm sure other people like to see what everyone's creating that's actually learning from these series. And I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye. So if you like the video, go ahead and hit that subscribe button down below. It really does help me out here on YouTube. And go ahead and follow me on Twitter. I can be a pretty chatty guy over there when I'm not walking through a forest or being stalked by eagles and falcons, lions, tigers, and bears.